the infamous Intercontinental Championship being thrown in the river. So recently, this belt has been found. If you guys do not remember, in December of 1997, Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was injured at the time, was the Intercontinental Champion, relinquished the championship to The Rock, and he would throw the title into a river. And recently, that championship belt has been found by someone and is now in the hands of a belt maker and belt collector. So in that person who owns the belt, he was on Conrad's podcast, Something to Wrestle with JBL, and he discussed how he got the belt and the lineage on it. So let's check out the infamous river belt being found. Fair use.
But I think we've got a story that nobody will believe. John, I'm sure you remember this moment, and Tony, you're a big wrestling fan from way back. I think we've answered one of wrestling's great mysteries. If you go back to the winter of 1997, I'm sure you'll recall once upon a time, Steve Austin got dumped on his head.
Wait a minute. I don't remember the 90s. I lived it. They say if you really lived in the 90s, you don't remember it. And, I did well. So anyway, go ahead. I'll take your word for it.
In late 1997, you'll probably recall Steve Austin was not able to wrestle. So they had to come up with fun stuff to keep him on TV. That's when he started hitting the stunner on Sergeant Slaughter and even Vince McMahon in Madison Square Garden. But he was the Intercontinental Champion. Even though he couldn't walk, he did still beat Owen Hart for the Intercontinental title. But then if you'll recall, Mr. McMahon made him relinquish that title to a guy known as The Rock. And this was really the first time we saw Steve Austin and The Rock. What just happened to Tony?
He didn't like that Wisconsin joke.
No.
He must be from Wisconsin. You're on your right. Tony, I apologize about Wisconsin. I was just kind of half kidding. I say half kidding because it's Hornswoggle. He's half anything. Unless you tried to pick him up, then you think he's Andre the Giant.
What do we do here, Silva?
Shoot ourselves in the face.
Tony, whatever you just did, we lost the video and it looks stupid. So we'll start over again. Don't do that again, please. God damn. I'm going to hang myself.
Turn it sideways. Turn your phone sideways again and just leave it.
All right. How's that?
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So he handed it over to The Rock. And then go from there.
Okay.
And
you just cover us up.
Yeah.
So, John, as you'll recall, when Steve Austin was forced to relinquish the Intercontinental title, he didn't want to do that willingly. So if you'll recall, he went out and he found a bridge and he threw the belt off the bridge and said, Rock, if you want it, just go get it. And he threw the title belt off the bridge into the river. And we thought we would never see that title belt ever again. Little did we know that somehow, some way, we found it. Ron, what in the world is going on? Chat me up. Tell me about this find and what the real story is. What happened?
All right. So if you guys caught that image, when Austin's holding the belt, he's holding it backwards. So if he's holding it backwards, you're not able to see what championship it is. And he will continue on to tell us what championship belt that actually was.
Okay, I didn't know a whole lot about the belt. I was actually in the Army at the time, so we watched through the barracks. But years later, a good friend of mine, Adam, came to me and he said, hey, Ron, could you do me a favor and verify that this is a Reggie Parks? And I took a look at it and immediately knew that this is definitely a Reggie Parks. He said, it's pretty beat up. I said, well, most likely it's ring used, and I offered him an undisclosed amount to go buy it. He went and found it on Facebook Marketplace for such a low amount that I'm ashamed to even say it.
Facebook Market,
from
guys.
there,
sheesh.
He shipped me the belt, and I took a good look at it. It has dry rot all over it, almost as though it was soaking in salt water or something. So I immediately started to contact the people that sold it, and it turned out that it was like a guy's landlord who didn't know what it was, so she looked up tag belt on eBay, and put it up there for this god awful low amount. So I said, could you tell me a little bit about this belt? And she said, why? Is there some kind of value to it? I said, I don't really know. I'm just trying to do some research. And she said, well, the guy that used to own it was my next door neighbor. And he saw this thing get thrown off a bridge and he went and fished it out. He tried to sell it or barter with WWE for a job. And they told him, just go ahead and keep the belt.
That's interesting.
So that's when I really started to deep dive into.
That's interesting. The fact that he tried to hold it over their heads for a job, and they don't have the WWE, the treasure show anymore. But this is something I think that they would actually be looking for and be sought after for them if they still had that treasure show. Let's continue.
Belt bridge. And I found the Stone Cold video where he's making just some hilarious comments. And throw your belt off a bridge, Rock. Here's some swimmers. I know y'all can't swim. And I mean, it just kept spinning out of control. And I was like, this is crazy. I mean, there's no way this is the right belt. But the lady just confirmed it. And then I spent a tremendous amount of time trying to find out whether it was held by Foley as a tag belt, whether it was held by Yokozuna, it was right. The Islanders, was it the Wild Samoans or something like that?
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about where we are. As a reminder, John, and I think you'll remember this name, this belt was made by Reggie Parks, and he is considered to be like the godfather of professional wrestling belts. He's no longer with us. He's long since passed, but almost everyone who makes professional wrestling belts today was inspired at some point by Reggie Parks. And he has probably the most iconic library of art.
He does.
Of course, we all remember the Winged Eagle title like Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan and everybody else held. They also have the Intercontinental title like The Rock held, and it's no longer there. But this is very clearly a Reggie belt. You can tell by the clamshell style tooling there, and even the way the snap box has been beveled out. But what's really interesting and makes this one unique, almost a tell, if you will, is the tip of the belt. Not a lot of the tag belts had that side plate combination. This may be the only set, but this particular tip, this is unique to this belt as well. You didn't see this a ton. This is a pretty rare belt, Ron, and you make these belts for a living. We should mention you've made a ton of belts that guys see on TV these days, like AEW, I know, is a regular customer of yours. Oh, I love seeing that there's a little bit of damage to the leather there on the left of the side plate. Chat me up. Ron, you've had this belt for a while now. What are some other unique characteristics about this belt that make it unique to Reggie Parks or just that era in general?
Well, there's certain things that Reggie always did with his belts, like the way he always takes the double. Let me see if I can get that in there right. The way he takes the double G's down into that line at the bottom.
Right, I see that. Yeah.
So when people try to duplicate that, they always seem to mess that up. But also just the way overall he does his snap box in a shape that's very unique. It can't be done with some kind of a pressing plate stamp, which a lot of the guys are using now.
So that's done by hand, right, Ron?
Oh, absolutely. Reggie's like you said, he is the belt god. He's the guru. So if you want to learn how to make a belt properly, that's the first thing you want to do is basically take apart Reggie, study it, and learn from him. He's the greatest.
I hate to ask you to do this, but since we're live and I just want to know, can you hold it up again? It looks like the main plate is separating a little bit from the leather. How many of those bolts are broken? That's cool.
It's actually right here.
That's really cool.
The leather has cracked so bad that it is separated, and the only thing holding it together right there is the backing.
Wow.
You can see the bolts on the back, and then it has another area like that over here that's not as bad through there.
That's
I mean,
fantastic.
it's just an amazing piece. To me, this is, obviously you have the greatest belt in the world, but to me, this is the greatest belt in my collection. Even though I have ring used tags, ring used world heavyweight, and the ring used bling 1577.
Un solo plan, un solo precio. Presentamos Simplicity de Verizon.
There's nothing like exclusive access to unique experiences worldwide.
Well, it's fantastic to take a look at this piece of history. As a reminder, this was a ring used tag belt that the company was willing to sacrifice and just seemingly be lost forever. And I think we've been able to track the side plates back all the way back to the Islanders, or the head shrinkers, I guess we would call them at the time. These are those.
That's from it.
And you can see, if you notice the belt on the right, it's missing the logo plate. Great job on our producer Silva here on identifying it. So right there, you prove not only does it have some Stone Cold history, does it have some Rock history? This is the Samoan dynasty. John, what do you think seeing this belt after all these years? How cool is this story?
I think it's incredible. I'd like to hear more about the guy who found it. Did he really? How deep was it? Did he scuba dive and go get it? I mean, it seems crazy, but remember, like one of the U.S. Opens or whatever it was, somebody had thrown the golf ball that they won with in the water, and the whole fans everybody goes diving in after it. I'm surprised more fans didn't go try to go down. This angle's pretty old. This is what Paul Jones was one of the first to do this in '72, I think, or early '70s with Jack Briscoe in Florida. They shut down the freaking bridge that he was going to throw the belt off of. Then they did the same angle out in the West Coast with, I think, Playboy Buddy Rose, a ripoff of the Jack Briscoe angle. So this was all, and of course you got a Jerry Briscoe in the office at WWE, and you come up with throwing the belt off the bridge angle. I wonder where it came from. It's a pretty cool storyline. I just always thought it was whatever happened to these belts. They're at the bottom of something. Was it a scuba diver that went and got it wrong? Was that how they got it?
The way I understand it, he lived very local, within a few miles of the bridge, and he saw it on TV live, and he rushed right on down there, jumped right on in, and I don't know how long it took him to find it. He did tell the whole story to the lady that lived next door to him, and she actually, once she got the belt and his belongings, when he left the residence, she didn't know what happened to him at that point. So I kind of let the story end right there for that part. And I started researching the tags by looking at the tips and the placement of the side plates to see if I could pinpoint exactly when it was used. I was kind of hoping it was Mick Foley's or Stone Cold's tag when they tag teamed together. And I apologize in advance. I forgot my APA shirt.
That's okay. But I appreciate you mentioning it. Thank you very much.
So that's always something that's kind of cool with these belts. There's subtle details that you guys can go back to when it comes to these belts. Like you said, like the missing plate that's supposed to say WWF Tag Team, where you can photo match and go back to when it was actually used and things like that. So that's a pretty cool thing when it comes to these championship belts. There's always some kind of marks or damage or something that's you can tell where and who held that championship.
It's just amazing to me. You got a company now worth what, $14 or $15 billion in TKO, the combined merger of WWE and UFC and PBR and everything else that's involved, and they don't even have an extra belt. They use some old tag belt that's missing plates off of it. It's pretty shocking how few things we had back then.
It's really cool to me to see this belt after all these years. We know for sure that it's ring used. We know for sure that it has a lineage going back to at least 1993, maybe more than that. But when you think about The Rock and Stone Cold, I mean, those are the two definitive stars of this era. Isn't that right, John? No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. I mean, I've never seen anything like those two stars when they got hot. When Steve got hot, any building you put his name on it sold out. That went from we're not selling tickets anywhere to selling out literally anywhere in the world with Stone Cold. And then The Rock was just as hot. I mean, it was insane that time. We were selling out everywhere we were in the world. And those two guys were directly responsible.
It's pretty phenomenal to know that not only does it have the actual tag team history, but believe it or not, the most iconic trilogy in WWE history, because we had not one, not two, but 3 WrestleMania almost main events. 2 of the 3 were for sure. And certainly Austin's last match, what we felt like would be the last match, were Austin and The Rock. Knowing that it has the tag team lineage of the Quebecers, the Head Shrinkers, and others, Tony, but also too, really the first substantial angle and moment between these 2 iconic characters, The Rock and Stone Cold. But more importantly, what a cool story. I mean, this is a belt that was seemingly lost to time for nearly 30 years. Now we found it. It's the only belt of the WWF era, which we all know is probably the most valuable commodity. If you're going to have the WWF attached to it, who else would you want besides Stone Cold and The Rock? It's the River belt. Tony, if you had to venture a guess, what do you think this would be worth?
Well, there's a lot of angles here that you'll be pulling from. I say it all the time in the memorabilia business and the memorabilia hobby. A lot of times you're buying the piece, but you're also buying the story. And with this one, you're exactly right. Anything related to Stone Cold and with The Rock is going to have, that you're talking Monday night, where you're really pulling from a lot of angles here. And having that moment, I remember when it happened. Of course, I never thought about the belt. I never thought about whatever happened to it. But because it's Stone Cold, it's The Rock, and there's a good history behind it, I would say my first guess was 75 to 100,000. It could do more. One thing that I was wondering what it's going to look like. It's not in that bad of condition either.
It's not.
You would think it would look just terrible, but yes, there's some pulling away, but visually it looks really good. And I think in that 75 to 100,000 range, could it do more? Absolutely, because there's not enough belts out there. There's a substantial history with this one. And when you've got, Dave doing the great work with the missing plate, the Head Shrinkers having this, being a WWF belt, you're buying the story as well as buying the piece. It wouldn't shock me if it hit 6 figures. And you know what? The negative that people would most likely associate is, yeah, but it was in the water. It's not in that bad of condition
That's sort of my opinion.
to go through what it did go through. Phenomenal piece. And again, Stone Cold, anything with Stone Cold in it, especially from that time period, is going to be instantly very recognizable and is going to have great value.
If I'm honest with you, if I were in the market for this belt, and Lord knows this is a belt that I looked for years and years, I would want it to be ragged around. I would want it to show some patina. I want it beaten up. Because if this is the River belt, I need it to look like a River belt. If I need a nice pretty belt, there's plenty of those out there that are for sale. I want the one that was thrown off a bridge by Stone Cold Steve Austin, where he told Rock to run get it. I thought this is such a great story. I'm not surprised to hear you say it's a 6-figure belt. Ron, what do you think? Do you think this is a 6-figure belt? How do you feel hearing that?
I mean, it really comes down to who really connects with that moment. Like, I think there's a moment for all of us on why we love wrestling. For me, it's probably Backlund and the Iron Sheik and Tony Atlas. For you, I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a moment that ties us to it. So whoever gets really tied to that moment, that huge Rock fan, that huge Stone Cold fan, I mean, I would think that someone probably would be in the 100 to 200K price range. But that's just me. I mean, and by the way, I was a huge APA fan. We need to give them more credit.
Thank you very much.
Well, you got Ron, it. I had the shirts. I loved it. I was like, you guys are a comedic relief.
All right, so that was something to wrestle with Conrad and JBL with the owner of the River Belt, and like they talked about, definitely a huge grab and definitely well over 6 figures in my opinion. You will want it with the wear and tear on it because, like Conrad said, I want it to look like a river belt and like it was actually down in the water. So let me know what you guys think about the river belt story and what did that moment mean to you guys. So let me know what you guys think about that. So our final story tonight. So we